Good evening. Hey, this is Ryan here, and welcome to Afternoon Market Action. As you can see, Glenn is not here today. So just to get a heads up, can everyone hear me? Can they see me? We got Joey in the background working with me today, but this is the first time I've done this by myself. So if there's any technical glitches, we'll try to get those resolved as soon as possible. Now, I do see some comments already coming in to the section here, and I see the alert just hit, so we'll give everyone a moment to join the room here. At no surprise, we see the major indices are down today. The NASDAQ leading that charge, just over 2%. See, we got T. Hey, T, how we doing? We got James, good to go. We got Mark. How quiet is it there this week? Well, Mark, it is a little bit quieter. I won't lie. I won't. Mark says, repeat after me. It's Joey's fault. Yeah, I'll take notes from Glenn's page, that's for sure. VV Nation from Israel, we welcome you to the channel. Prayers for everyone, obviously affected by what's going on in the Middle East right now. Won't get into politics on this channel, though. Now, as you see here, the market, it's been a crazy week. We got yellow lights the first 2 days in the color guard. Now we got red lights across the board. All right, yeah, Joey just switched us over to the home page here. So this is the home page of the VectorVest program. This is where we get to see, get a sense of market direction. Let's see here. John, hello, Ryan. Are you drinking Glenn's Cafe Bustelo? I am drinking Cafe Bustelo, but not Glenn's, unfortunately. I should probably go snag a couple from him. Let's see here. But yeah, as we see, the major indices, they are down today. I came out with a video Monday evening filling in for Glenn's spot. Just reiterating the fact of ETFs. The ETFs I came out with that list on Monday were more for beginners, and they were single leverage. At this point with the MTI and such such oversold territory, the BSR as well. Triple leverage, don't necessarily feel too comfortable opening those type of positions, but if I want to get some a little bit more gains from this downside momentum, I do like single leverage ETFs, especially from a beginner standpoint. Contras, yes, Marcus, that's what I introduced was Contras. So if you are new to Contras, definitely check out the video from Monday. Mark, are you trying to teach Ryan the ways of Glenn? Right? So again, we want to be on the right side of the market. And I was getting kind of tired of doing commodities. I've been touting commodities for the last couple months, really. Oil, uranium, gold, coal. Actually, for the most part, those pretty much all worked out pretty well. I don't know if any of you guys or ladies, took some of those recommendations, by diversifying your portfolio into commodities right now with this market pullback. But, other opportunities will present themselves in the future. John, Google is getting spanked, Google is really getting spanked. Sorry about that, John. I saw that actually tonight's video is on Google and Microsoft. We didn't have a live presentation. I'm covering videos for Glenn, so couldn't get out the video sooner, but it is coming out at 6 p.m. So if you want some good insight on why those stocks are, moving the way they are, Microsoft, the winner of the two, it did gap up. With the market pulling back, at no surprise, it's losing a lot of those gains from that gap up from the earnings. In addition, Google gapped down. I'm not going to get too many details on that right now. Definitely watch the video this evening. But the big worry was their cloud. They missed revenue on their cloud computing services. Microsoft beat estimates when it comes to their cloud services. So that's kind of the story right there is just the cloud and the AI platform. But let's be honest right now, it's really not a good time just being tech in general. I've came out with a couple videos on tech, watching the key levels that came out a couple weeks ago. A lot of these stocks are flirting with those key levels. Amazon broke my key level today, between yesterday and today with the gap down that it experienced. It's down around 120. My key level is around 127. So right now, again, I'm still bearish on the market. So if you are going to play the market right now, personally, I'm liking most commodities, energy, contra ETFs, things of that nature. If Microsoft was down, the NASDAQ would be down 500 points. John, I'm not going to disagree with that statement. I don't know the exact math, but I know it's heavily weighted on the NASDAQ, especially the NASDAQ 100. Let's see here. What is your estimation of the lowest it will go? Francisco, are you talking about Amazon Are we talking about Microsoft or Google? I know we kind of mentioned a couple of them. As far as low as it can go, no one's got that. We can find nice support levels. Maybe a 200-day moving average to find support, things of that nature. But again, it really just depends what's gonna go with this market going forward. The general market. I got really close last June calling in the low. Not too far off, maybe 2 weeks off. As far as this, I'm still assessing the data. With the Middle East crisis still being relatively new and the possibility that it could escalate, further into the region. With other big players, such as Iran being one of them. Let's be honest here. Again, I don't like to get into politics, but we know if that war spread into other countries throughout the Middle East, that's just going to put pressure on oil. As far as, beyond energy, beyond commodities, I'm not really feeling stocks for the most part right now. Again, I'm more on the hedging side of things. Cash, stay patient. Francisco, Dave C says to Francisco, let me just highlight this one here. Sorry, I'm new to this. There we go. All right. So Francisco, nobody knows. Stay patient until the PW turns up and starred green lights in the price column. Yeah, looking for some kind of momentum to the upside. We've gotten a green light scattered here and there, over the past few weeks, but no confirmation the next day. No explosive rally with broad market participation. So not the things that we're necessarily looking for. Dave, you said it. You really hit the nail on the spot. Have patience. Patience is key. If you're forcing yourself to get in position just because you're bored right now, I recommend finding a hobby, learning things, diving into the VectorVest software, learning other aspects of the software itself, things that you may not be familiar with. I always tell people in a down market, if you're not playing to the downside, or if you just have extra time in your schedule, learn more about the market. Touch up on your technical analysis skills, touch up on your VectorVest skills, your chart reading patterns, your candlestick patterns. Our YouTube channel hosts a lot of this information. Just type, once you go to YouTube in the search bar, type, VectorVest, whatever you're looking for, whether it's bottom fishing, candlesticks. We've got videos on all kinds of things. Exactly. Boston, learn bottom fishing strategies. Now is the best time to learn before the blast off happens. That's what Boston just put in the chat box. And I strongly suggest, if you got the time, I know we're approaching the holidays, people's schedules will get busy as we go forward. Francisco, I'm on lunch, nothing to do. Well, Francisco, I would stick on the VectorVest channel, watch some of these videos here. I still do see upside potential. We're going to touch on things like oil today, big tech earnings, and the Fed. Let's be honest, those are the things that most people are concerned about right now. I know a lot of people hold big tech. And as far as where the money's at right now, finally got a new speaker. We did. I did not notice. Give me just a moment here. So let's jump into the market timing graph here. I just want to see this pressure here. All right, so this is the market timing graph over the past year. You can see here we are approaching this 52-week low. That low is at 52.17. Right now, we're just a couple dollars from that at 53.59. So let's zoom into a 6-month time span to get a better visual of this information. We did break this key level support here at 54.77, hitting a new swing low here. Well, we don't know if we're at a swing low just because it's not swinging back up right now, but we're swinging down. And that low comes in, let's see here, 53.53. So let's just look at the one-day chart. Look at the pressure here. Right out of the gate this morning, huge selling pressure. Let me just zoom in here. You can see that selling pressure coming in, around 10 o'clock, 10 a.m., 10:30, something like that. The bulls tried to take charge. They lasted, till about lunch, and then, the bears just took over from there. Let's see here. What do you think of Meta? I own 400 shares. Vic, I'll be honest with you. I don't know how long you've owned Meta. I don't know what price you purchased it. I don't know how aggressive you are. But right now, Meta releases earnings this evening. So if you don't want to experience volatility, get out of the position. Or if you're familiar with options, you can, hedge your position just in case Meta takes a big hit. Did you say the Bears? John, yeah, the Bears, they are taking over. As you can see, a little bit of buying pressure coming in since we started this just a few minutes ago here. You see the buying pressure coming in, but overall, it's not pretty out there. It's not pretty at all. So we're going to dive into the software, see what's working. We're going to take a look at some news articles. And because it's just me today, I'm going to have more time to focus on your stocks. So don't type them in yet. We are going to get to those. And as far as your questions on, things like Meta, Google, Microsoft, I have those actually already in my watch list today for my picks. They're not my picks as far as buying. I'll tell you right now, do not go out and buy those just because they're in my list. And it's not what I'm suggesting. They're just on the watch list because they are derivatives of the news articles that I have for you. So let's just go ahead and switch over to the news articles, see what's going on in the market. So let me just go here. All right, so let's start at the beginning here. We've got oil. If we see here, look at this, how oil could spike to $150 a barrel, even $250 if Israel-Gaza war escalates, according to Bank of America. Now, let's just take a pin here. Oh, Akshaya Glenn, he is out. He is on vacation. He is gone this week, so it is just going to be me today. So please hit the like button. If you find what I'm saying important, please share this within your own social circles. That way you can help people. Even like I said, we're not buying a whole lot right now, so we're going to make you a whole lot of money, but we can help you prevent from losing more money. Someone asked earlier, how low do you see the market going? No one has that crystal ball, right? But a lot of people are meeting the threshold of pain, and if they're not abiding by their stops or have good discipline, they could see huge chunks of their portfolio suffering from these decisions. I think Glenn is watching the stream. Glenn, if you are watching, go ahead and put some comments in the section here. Let's go ahead and get that thing going. I hope you are. I hope you're having fun on your vacation. I look forward to seeing you next week. Now, let's get back to it here. Oil. No surprise, a war in the Middle East is going to affect oil if that war expands. And let's just be honest here, the key expansion player in this field is going to be Iran. Potentially, because they are the backer of Hamas and other, various organizations out there in the Middle East causing trouble. So we'll see how that goes. I do see that the U.S. did deploy a THAAD missile defense system. I actually specialized in missile defense systems in college. My senior thesis was on that. And the THAAD is a very, very powerful missile defense system, to protect our military assets and, allies in the region. So I'm not surprised. And we saw a move of a second fleet to the region itself, second carrier fleet. So as we deploy more assets to the region to, stabilize that region, it can cause the adverse effect with, other countries, bolstering military equipment as well. So we'll see how that plays out. But, I really like this article here. I already see it going past $100 a barrel, based on several factors here. I know we have worked with Venezuela to try to get their oil to help keep down prices. I saw some articles about that. How far along we get in that process, who knows? But as of right now, we do have a demand and supply issue. Now, let's scroll down here. A couple things I do want to mention here. Since the shock attack on Israel has caused a spike in oil, that oil almost went up to $100 a barrel. However, the Wall Street side of Charlotte-based bank laid out scenarios where oil could hit $150 a barrel or even $250. So me personally, I like buying a nice dividend oil stock on the dips right now. John, imagine if Trump had one more time and we signed a peace deal with Iran, none of this would be going on. Again, John, I can only, I can't get into politics here. But, we all know that, Trump would probably handle this situation a little bit differently than Joe Biden. The difference is, I'm not going to get into those details, but we know that both of them would have a different approach, right? Now, you see here, crude held around $88 a barrel after trading closer to $94 a barrel this week. However, the West Texas hovered near $84 a barrel, right? So I'm still looking at 84, 85 as a support. I just wish the strategic Cigar says, I just wish the Strategic Petroleum Reserve was full again. Sigh. I have a feeling they're going to be trying to get that strategic reserve up, or at least they should. Let's just be honest here. If the war is going on in the Middle East, and we think there could be some supply disruptions, transportation disruptions from that region, that is a national security concern. So I think it would be a great goal, to get that reserve up again, full capacity, just, from a national security standpoint. Nat, good answer, right? Very diplomatic. You ever watch the people on, was it the press secretary for the president when they answer questions? Sometimes I feel like that, because I am at work, can't give you all my personal opinions, but my opinion on oil is I don't think this rally is over. I think if we can stay above that $84-$85 barrel, for the WTI as a metrics and measurement here, keep that level of support going. Any major news developments going on in the Middle East right now would affect that oil. Let's just be honest. If they sign a true, peace deal next week, theoretically speaking, we could see oil going back down sharply. If tensions escalate, no crystal ball, but I would probably imagine oil would be hovering. 67 new S&P 250 today. New low I just ran on a VV search. John Boston. 250-day new low on the S&P 500. Thanks for that tip, John Boston. Like I said, the VectorVest composite almost reaching a one-year low itself, 52-week low. So not too surprised there. VV Nascent Haas, welcome to the circle here. Don't forget to give us a like. We're always just trying to make people money, keep people on the right side of the market. We're going to move to the next article just because we all know oil's probably the spot to be right now, other than some shorts, contra ETFs, things of that nature. But again, just keep your eyes and ears what's going on in the Middle East if you have oil positions or petroleum positions in general, just because these news developments will affect how oil is traded going forward, okay? But right now, as far as tensions, Middle East, doesn't seem to be settling anytime soon. So for that reason, I'm bullish on oil. Now, let's just go ahead and get rid of this story. Next up, we got Boeing on the list here. I know many of you may have jumped or may have thought about jumping into Boeing as a defense contractor. Me personally, I'm not that big of a fan of Boeing. I think I'd much rather be in like a Lockheed Martin, just because Boeing has had a lot of issues with some of their planes, a lot of manufacturing issues. And this article touches on that, just really reiterates that point. Their price action has been suffering quite a bit here. So just looking at the title, Boeing cut 737 MAX delivery forecast as production issues dent third quarter results. So it's not a demand issue. The demand is there. It's a supply issue. They're having some halts, and that's going to affect their bottom dollar. It's probably, especially at a pivotal point, I imagine more countries around the world are ordering these planes. Even some for defense transport issues. Let's see here. Boeing said Wednesday it will deliver fewer 737 MAX aircraft than expected this year. The company is working through production flaws detected on some of the best-selling aircraft. And then finally, the manufacturer also reported a wider than expected adjusted loss for its third quarter. So they did just report earnings not too long ago. I think it was earlier this week, actually, Monday or Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. I was looking at the S&P 500 new lows sorted by VST descending, John Boston says. You can see the value of the VectorVest and how it gives you the price today versus the value of the stock. Let's see here. Yeah, Mark, DOW, RUT, SPX, all below the 200-day simple moving average. I like the 200-day simple moving average as looking at a level support, not necessarily for crossovers, things of that nature, because a lot of traders do look at a 200-day moving average. If it does cross below that 200-day moving average, that is not a good sign for long-term momentum, especially if you're a bull. If you're a bear, it might work out in your favor, right? ASA turned a $3,000 account to $4,300 since October 2 by following all right, I'm going to highlight this one. Now, see here, turned a $3,000 account to $4,300 since October 2nd by following the VectorVest recommendations and not chasing trades. Let's see here. Not much, but steady growth. Now, I will say I got no crystal ball. I'm not going to get it right 100% of the time, but this is what I do for a living. So I am on top of the markets. I try to keep you on the right side, utilizing the VectorVest 7 system, because this is where I learned how to trade, utilizing the VectorVest 7 system. And the number one thing that most people don't realize when they first get into investing is what the market is doing. They're all just, focused on an individual stock, not realizing that the market's the ocean. It's going to, pull things with it, right? Along with its tide. Asa, you're up 43%. Well done. Yeah, good job, Asa. That's well played. I'm curious, Asa, if you put in the comment section, what kind of positions did you get into? What kind of recommendations did you get? Let's just take put in the comment section over the last 30 days, put a 1 if your portfolio is up. Put a 2 if it's down over the last 30 days. I am just curious how many 1s and 2s are in the house right now. The last 30 days was long after a confirmed down signals was given. Mark, he's got a 2. Pretty mixed here, honestly, 1s and 2s. Yeah, I mean, they're pretty evenly mixed, just looking through the comment section. So I'm not surprised by that. If you are a 1 and you've made money over the last 30 days, you're probably holding either, hedging positions through contras or most likely energy, things of that nature. Mostly oil option trades. Yeah, Asa, that'll do it. Especially if you got some calls or some, any kind of, bullish style option trade, bullish style option spread. I probably made pretty good money off that. I like trade as options myself. So I've actually done pretty well when it comes to the oil space. So yeah, Boeing here, not very good. They're having issues. So it said this news really came out this morning. Now the company expects to hand over between 375 and 400 of its workhorse plane this year. The previous estimate was 400 to 450. So it's about 75 planes short of the estimate, right? These planes aren't cheap. So that's probably hundreds of millions of dollars, if not, a few billion that it could potentially lose. Just keep this in mind when it comes to Boeings. I know a lot of people, may have jumped into Boeing as a defense play. They do a lot of defense contracting through their planes. But this probably not the defense stock you want to be in. Other defense stocks, I'm not against it. Not against it at all. Now so next on the list, this is what everyone's been talking about. Microsoft gets another leg up on Google in AI race. Tonight at 6 p.m., I am going into, it's about a 10-minute video, but I only go over 2 news articles. I talk for 10 minutes about them because I go into quite an array of details. And ultimately, well, I'm not going to give you the clue, but Microsoft tended to be the winner when it came, at least as far as the earnings report last night. Microsoft jumped up. However, the gap up, it's lost a lot of those gains. The market's going down right now, so I don't really care if a tech company beats earnings or whatever it may be. The market's going down. Just because Microsoft had a good earnings report, I'm not in a rush to buy it right now. Just because I have a feeling I could probably get a better deal in the near future, right? Now, Google, they missed revenue on their, they only missed revenue actually on their cloud services. They came in, quite shy of that. So their stock, last time it looks down like 9%. We're going to go into the charts of these. So we're not going to spend too much time on Google and Microsoft. Like I said, I got a whole video coming out at 6 p.m. tonight on this matter. So, let's go to the next one here. Oh, that is not the right one. All right. So this is more economic news, right? What can the Fed do about the deficit? This is an article from the Wall Street Journal. It says absolutely nothing. As deficits fuel rising bond yields, Fed Chair Jerome Powell resists urge to offer physical device, in contrast to 2020. So, Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell walking a tightrope here. He can only do so much when it comes to combat inflation, right? Zilch, right? He can't do nothing. So not only is he fighting inflation, but he's ultimately fighting Congress as well. As long as Congress, keeps, spending money beyond our measure, that's going to take an impact on inflation, right? Especially as that deficit gets higher and higher and higher. how are we going to combat that, right? Well, one way to combat is through inflating the dollar to help pay for that, right? Which would, again, put pressure on inflation, and it's just a vicious circle between Congress and Jerome Powell giving the market a hard time. If you agree with that, put it in a 1. If you don't agree with that, put it in a 2. But, until these two can get on the same page here, inflation is going to, it's, again, I don't have a crystal ball, but until, the Congress and Jerome Powell get on the same playing field here, I just don't, see any good resolutions coming up, at least in the near term, right? Number 1, David, again, if you agree with that statement, hit a 1 in the chat box. If you don't agree with that statement, put a 2. David, put a 1. He agrees, right? These two got to get on the same page to really get inflation under control. Mark, thanks, Boston. Let's see here. Bill, they won't get on the same page ever. And Bill, that is one of the things in my mind that says how low can this market go, right? There was a comment in a question in the comment section earlier. I don't have these crystal balls because not all the data comes in. All the data, it fluctuates, right? So if I gave you opinion today and you held that opinion, dear to heart, well, next week, 2 weeks out, inflation, whatever it may be, update in the Middle East, my opinion can change, right? And if you don't hear my opinion change, you're not going to know, and you're going to stick with the old answers. That's why I'm not going to give an answer, right? Just like Jerome Powell says, I'm data dependent, all right? I'm data dependent right now. Not crazy. I was thinking the exact same thing, Bill. They won't ever get on the same page. I'm going to highlight Bill's here. They won't ever get on the same page. And Bill, I agree with that. And until they do, I don't see inflation going away right now. The Federal Reserve can only, they've been trying to slow down the economy. It's worked a little bit maybe, but not a whole lot. Inflation's ticked up the last 2 reports here on the CPI data. So just want to throw this out there. If you're in positions right now, shorts, hedging, playing to the downside, right now that's the place to be. And I know the BSR, MTI are so low, but we just got fresh 3 red lights across the color guard this morning. So that momentum's still going to the downside. Let me get rid of that real quick. There we go. I'm getting used to doing this by myself. So let's go to the next one here. Next one, I got the economic calendar just because if you did not know, let's see here, next week, where did it go? I just had it. There it is. Next Wednesday, November 1st. That's what we all want to know. Is the Federal Reserve going to raise rates or not? That decision comes out at 2 p.m. Glenn will actually be here. We'll be doing live coverage. Federal Chairman Powell will speak at 2:30. So if you want to get insights on that. Now, I'm just curious here. Put a 1 in the comment section if you think we're going to get a hike. Put a 2 in the comment section if you don't think we're going to get a hike. And what would be my hike? Probably a 1/4 point. Let's be honest here. I'd be surprised. I'd be shocked if we got 0.5 point. But honestly, I think they need to raise it a 1/4 point. And I've talked about this before with Glenn, even on the show. If they do not raise it next week, my concern is the banks. That would be the reason why they don't raise it. Because Federal Reserve knows they have to raise it. They still have really low unemployment. Inflation's ticked up the last 2 months. So if they don't raise it, there's got to be some data out there that I'm not aware of. And I have a feeling that's going to be with the health of the bank system. So I'm just throwing that out there. If they don't raise it, that's my opinion, and that would be why. If you agree with that, let me know in the comment section. But I'm getting a lot of 2s here. A lot of 2s. I don't think they'll raise it. And me personally, I think it's because of the strength of the banks and just how the bond market works. And a lot of these banks, are in trouble buying some of these treasury bonds before with low interest rates, but now the interest rates are much higher. Now, next. Someone had mentioned crypto in the comment section. I do have an article on Bitcoin here. While Glenn's gone, we are going to talk about Bitcoin today. Not just messing, not just because Glenn's gone, but Bitcoin did hit a key level. It broke above 33,000. Now, the Bitcoin ETF, it is a spot ETF. The ETFs I have in my watch list in today, that we'll get to in just a moment, are not spot. If you don't know what spot is, like the gold spot ETF, GLD, it actually literally tracks physical gold. The ETF that they're trying to get clearance for, which looks like they're getting approval as far as I know, it's going to be solely based on the Bitcoin spot price. A lot of the ETFs, and actually the 2 ETFs that I have in the list for today are going to be minor ETFs. That's typically how the Bitcoin ETFs or crypto ETFs have been working so far, is just based off the miners, but not actually spot price. So I'm really interested to see this work out. You know, it's had a big run. It's doubled in price. It's just above 16,000 beginning of the year when it hit its low. Now it's above 30,000. So it's doubled. It's back on everybody's radar here. Do I like Bitcoin? Honestly, I do like Bitcoin. I like it a lot. And just to reiterate, the reason why a lot of people like Bitcoin, let's just be honest, they don't trust their government. They don't trust their central banks. Now, I know there's all these little crappy crypto coins out there. There's only a few that I really have confidence in, at least for the long term. You know, you could take a look at the others' volatility, and you know, if you're a technical trader, you can probably make some money off it. Woohoo! But is there really any value with some of these? What do they call them? Well, I'm not going to use the word. It's not a good word, but they're crap coins, right? You know, they're just out there for traders to have fun with, essentially. No real value. Now, things like Bitcoin, Ethereum, some of the others I'm not going to get into, but I do like Cardano. These are some of the biggest ones that really have a proof of concept. Really got some volume, some time behind them to show the market some confidence in these. GBTC has been breaking out. Yeah, John. I was looking at the RT Delta and Unisearch of industries. I looked at the 5-day, was it a 10-day and a 13-week? Crypto been at the top of the list for quite a bit of those, and we'll actually jump into some of these crypto ETFs I was telling you about earlier that are in the watch list. But this is going to be the first spot ETF, so there's a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of news about it. A lot of articles are talking about hitting 45,000 as at least a near-term price projection. Who knows how it's going to play out? It's pretty volatile in nature, but as far as Bitcoin is seen as a new inflation hedge because it's not fiat currency. There's only limited supply, things of that nature. Asa says, I'm learning to cut my losses and take profits without being greedy. That is always a good key. And you know what that shows me, Asa, is you have discipline. Now, I can give you the best stocks out there, the best market advice, whatever it may be. But unless you have the self-discipline to manage positions, take profits, cut losses short, nothing's going to help you. So, Asa, I'm glad you touched on that. Bill Burgeons, GBTC has been moving close to par. Again, those ETFs that have some kind of correlation with Bitcoin right now, or crypto in general, they're all hot and have been. So this ETF is going to give around some buzz, not just Bitcoin, but say Bitcoin is the community leader when it comes to crypto. So no surprise, it's going to help push some of the other cryptos up as well. Mark says no options on GBTC, staying away from it. Options on some of these crypto ETFs wouldn't be bad. I have looked at them, but the volume of these options and the open interest for a lot of these ETFs is not a lot. That's my only concern with getting into some of the options on these. So if you are thinking about options on some of these cryptocurrency ETFs, there have been some comments about GBTC. Just look at the volume, make sure there's some open interest. So that way, if you are up some money, you can actually sell it to someone, right? Because if you don't have a buyer, well, then you're stuck with it. We'll see how that works out. All right, so next here we got earnings. This week is a very, very pivotal week for tech. If the market's going to get its act together, this week is going to be the week. We're getting mixed here. Tesla, Microsoft, and Google have already released their earnings. Meta is tonight. Meta Platforms is this evening after the bell. We see the consensus earnings per share is at $3.62. Do you see the last year's EPS at $1.64? So their earnings per share has more than doubled, slightly more than doubled over the last year. I do like that a lot, actually. I like that a lot. Now I'm going to scroll over to Thursday. We got Amazon. So huge week. Even with tech coming out, look, we got Intel as well. We already had TSM. NVIDIA, one of the last big tech players, they're not till next month. So, we'll see how they do. But this week, we've got a lot of big tech here. Earnings, kind of mixed. I mean, they're pretty positive overall. Nothing to really be concerned about right now. Google, their cloud, did business, took a little bit of a hit, but they got steep competition with Amazon and Microsoft right now. Those are the two key players, with Microsoft Azure, and then the Amazon cloud. So, all right, so let's get out of these, get out of the news article here, and we'll just close this graph. Let's see here. All right, so we are going to go to my picks this week. I'm going to do these real quick here. Microsoft, Alphabet. Let's add Amazon and Meta here. I'm not sure why this one popped up. Oh, that should not be in this list. This is why I think this is, yep, I did put them over here by accident. That's right. All right, so here I have my list here, and let me just edit. We'll just do this. Change this to Ryan's picks. Edit. All right, now this list makes more sense. Sorry, I typed those in the wrong one here. Let's see here. All right, so we got Meta, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, XOM, and Boeing in the list here. Now, if we take a look here, the first four I'm going to look at is just going to be big tech. The only reason why I have them on the list here, again, I'm not saying buy these. I'm not saying I'm bullish on them. I just have them on the list because that's what the stories are covered on. And, we got a lot of big earnings from these companies this week. We're still waiting on Meta this evening. And then we have Amazon tomorrow. So it's going to be a big earnings week here. If we take a look here, price action, if we look at the percent price change here, they are mixed right now. The only winners today are Microsoft up 2%. It was up almost 5% this morning. It's giving a lot of those gains back, from the optimism from its earnings. Look at ExxonMobil, still positive. This is the only position here I would be bullish on in this list here, XOM, just because it has to do with oil. Again, I'm very bullish on oil right now. So let's just take a look at the valuations here. Meta Platforms, $300. We value at $312. It's finally undervalued. I like that. When the market pulls back, as long as you get the cash and time, you really have some resources to buy in at lower levels. We've had down signals in the market for a while now. So if you haven't sold, I don't know what your stops are, but maybe that's why you haven't. You're sticking to your stops, which is fine. But if you don't have stops in place, you're just writing them down, right? Look, Meta down another 4% today. Alphabet down 10%. Amazon down almost 6% today. So a lot of these big techs are, having trouble right now. And if we look here, you see the relative safety rating, very high relative safety rating. If we compare that to Exxon or Mobil, they're negative, right? 0.88. So not a favorable rating. So that being said, big tech is a safe bet. But it's not the bet I'm going to place right now. Just being honest. We can waiting for better deals ahead. If you got some short-term technical trade you think you might try to do, just be careful. John, I don't know how anyone can be long when the market timing is all negative. Am I missing something here? No, John, you're not. If someone's long right now, I don't know why. I really don't know why. Who's holding long positions right now? Please put in the comment section. 1, if you're holding bullish positions. 2, if you are not. And when I say bullish positions, exclude energy and commodities. But if you're long big tech or other parts of the market, put a 1. And I want to know why. Why would you be bullish right now? Now, if you just bought it yesterday because you're thinking about bottom fishing, that's one thing. If you've been holding on to them for 10 years and you're not really going to sell it just because of this little pullback, then, that's another story. Yeah, so one person, Brian, is one. Mark, he's selling Iron Condor on Microsoft. Not at best. Beaver Trail says 1, but defense. Good call. Andrew 2, taking the 5th. Bill's taking the 5th, huh? Sue, 100% cash. Sue, when we get the green lights and we get this explosive rally, it's going to come. Patience. Again, patience is key. I've seen people make 10 or 15% just off a blast off in their portfolio within a matter of a couple weeks, talking to customers, right? And then they're good for the rest of the year. They got their 10, 15% for the year. They were good. Some people only buy in when the MTI or BSR is this low and we see some bottom fishing opportunities. That's not a bad way to play it, to be honest. If you're just waiting for the right time, as Glenn says, and I'm going to steal Glenn's, I don't know if Glenn came up with this or not, but I know he says it a lot. Let the trade come to you. Don't rush the trade. Let the trade come to you, right? Now, Boeing, we got a sell recommendation on Boeing. And look, all these big tech names, none of them have buy ratings right now. They're losing their momentum. Holding long-term stocks and cash, says John. Now, again, I understand, if I've been holding on, Apple for 20 years, I probably don't, I may not be in a rush to sell it right now just because of tax purposes, things of that nature. Damon, XOM, GLD, SQQQ. And Damon, you've seen all of those in my stock picks probably over the last 2 months at some point, or some of the videos I've done. I've seen those symbols before. XOM, that's in my list today, right? GLD, actually, I'm going to add GLD. I like GLD right now. Let's just see what spot gold is doing. I'm going to add spot gold to the list. I am actually bullish on gold right now. And let's just see, it's up. See, look at up 0.5% today. No surprise. So again, when Glenn comes back next week and he sees all these big tech names, you could tell him I said it here first. I'm not bullish on these positions. Just put them in the list so we can get some analysis because of earnings. So let's take a look at these. I'm just going to graph these real quick. And then we're going to jump over to your stocks. I'm going to try to get as many as I can possible before we have to head out today. So here we got Meta over the last year, right? Look, it was $100 at the beginning of the year. Let me get off this crosshair cursor. That could be annoying. Nice, steady, lower left, upward price action, right? And we see, look at this. Big down day today. So let's zoom into a 3-month time span here. Ooh, let's just add some. Oh, we do have support resistance here. But let's do this. Change settings. There we go. That's the level I'm looking for right here. 287.55. I had a feeling that would be the support level coming in. This is my last draw in the sand, right? Honestly, I wouldn't even be holding it right now. Me personally, I can't tell you what to do. I'm not a financial advisor. But like I said, if you sell something today, doesn't mean you can't buy it back in the near future, right? But look at this. Look at the selling pressure here. Throughout the whole day, the sellers have control. Big drop off, and it releases earnings this afternoon. So it's doing this big of a drop. It was almost 3% before the earnings. That's not a good sign. Too late to sell. Stops either not allowed or they were gapped. Don, I'm just going to say this one thing. It is never too late to sell. I get what you're saying. Depending where you bought this, again, it's depending where you bought these, but it's never too late to sell. And things can gap. If I have Meta this afternoon, if I'm going into earnings and I'm seeing all of this negative, what's my threshold of pain, right? But own a lot of oil and gold. Well, Don, did you watch my oil and gold videos, Don? I'm just curious. Done a lot of videos on oil. I think I started doing oil videos like back in July when I first started doing this for VectorVest. Gold, I actually just touched last week. I saw it on the move quite a bit. Insiders know something on Meta, and that might be the case, Bill. If I have a feeling, it's going to be advertising revenue. I think advertising revenue might be the big issue with Meta. But again, I don't really know that much about Meta, but that would be my guess. If I had to see any troubles, I would say advertising revenue. Now, we got Microsoft here. You know what? Let's do this. Since a lot of these companies are trending real low right now, let's do this. I'm going to add a 200-day moving average of price. Oh, there we go. And let's just go back to Meta. Let's go to 1 year. There we go. You see last time where it crossed above, if I use a date line here. See that big gap up here? Gapped above that 200-day moving average I got here. But we still got a lot of room to downside. $250, that 200-day moving average. So if I see it breaking this zone here, I would say price would be tempted to get down to that 200-day moving average. But again, depends what the market's doing. But right now, I am not bullish on Meta. You know, at least with the market as it is right now. Microsoft here, see that gap up today? It is above its 200-day moving average. You see price action was converging closer to that 200-day moving average. However, the last several weeks, starting to diverge away. I do like, you see how it's trapped in this resistance zone here? Let's see, let's zoom into a month. Meta down because all the states suing them. That might be the case, Lee. No expert on what's going on with that. But you see here this gap up. Most of the gains are fading away. You see the gap getting closer and closer here. It is stuck in this level of resistance. So let's go to 6 months here. If we can get price action above this zone, I see it going to the high. I see it going to that high above 360, right, with Microsoft. But with the gap up and the selling pressure I'm seeing today, you know, I'm not too inclined. And we have a gap. You know, we're in a down market and there's a gap. What does price action like to do? Fill gaps typically, right? So I wouldn't be surprised at some point it's going to fill that gap. You know, again, just depends on what the market is doing. Depends, you know, what we got inflation coming out this Friday, is PCE data, unemployment Monday, Fed decision on interest rates next Wednesday. So the market is volatile right now, very volatile. We're not going to get a clear sense of direction probably until I would say mid next week, till after the Fed announcement. I agree with you on advertising spending with Meta. People are pulling back and not spending. Bidenomics is working well and crushing the average. I'm not going to read that, John. Not on this channel. Again, I do not get political. But my head and your head is in the same picture as far as Meta, not Bidenomics. Again, not giving my opinion on that. People are pulling back and not spending, is what John is saying in the comment section. And I can see businesses doing that. You know, they have to cut curves, right? You know, they're cutting a lot of spending. With inflation right now, they're trying to increase the revenue. And they're trying to do that any efficient way as possible. So let's scroll down here. We've got Google. Here's the big gap down. Google being the big loser in yesterday's earnings report. See here that gap. See the open was at 129. Even after the open here, we see the low coming in at 126. So still feeling the selling pressure. If we take a look here, it's breaking. If price action stays where it is right now, it's breaking that zone, right? If some buyers came in, kept us in the zone, I'd feel a little bit better. But right now, I see this zone being broken. And look at this right here. Supports at 116 and that 200-day moving average. That might be an optimal bottom fishing opportunity. If the market presents itself at the right time, and if price action can get, you know, maybe 118, 120, that's not too crazy. And another $8 or so. And we can get right at that support zone, right at that 200-day moving average. If I see buying pressure and green lights in the color guard, this might actually be a great bottom fishing opportunity. Not going to lie. Scroll down here. We got GLD. I love gold. I did a video on it last week, like I said. So if you are interested in gold, go watch the video. It's a whole video just on gold itself, giving you some of the top, stocks in that space. And the good thing about the gold video I did last week, I compared it to other entities and see how it is as a hedge. And if it is still utilized as a good hedge. And I don't really give you my personal opinion. I just do quick tests and run the numbers and I present the data to you. And I'm much more data. I hate using that word, data dependent. Jerome Powell is in my head right now. Bought some GLD and USO calls. That's what Bill said here. Bill, you might be onto something. If we look today, look at this. I'm just going to zoom in here. I'll get rid of this 200-day moving average. We got gold here. We see a lot of buying pressure coming in. See this bottom wick here, right? A lot of bottom pressure. The buyers still have control with the body of that candlestick in positive territory. We are facing a level of resistance. We can see here this 4 days ago. Hit a high here. It was at 185.23, and that's right above that level of resistance. I like to see that high taken out if you're not already in gold. If you're not already in and you're thinking about buying it, I wouldn't necessarily jump in it right this second. The 3 is above the 8. I'd like to get a little bit more confirmation just to make sure we're seeing some selling pressure at these levels. Otherwise, good to go. You got the 3 and 8 there. You can see the momentum to the upside right now. If you are in gold right now, I don't see any rush to sell it. I don't know what price you bought it at. Again, I don't know what your objectives are. So just make sure you have some stops in place, some clear objectives when trading. Otherwise, you won't really have anything to fall back on because you don't have a plan. If you don't have a plan, you don't know what to do. And that's when mistakes are made. Next, we got Amazon here. Look at this. Just hit a low. Let's go to 1 year here. Put this 200-day moving average back on. I see the 200-day here coming in at 117. You see how it just broke this level of support here clearly at 122.75. We're trading at 121. I do see it hit that. I would not be surprised if it does hit that 200-day moving average. However, earnings is tomorrow, right? So I'm not going to make any decisions on Amazon until after earnings. I don't currently own it right now. But if you do own Amazon, again, just watch your stops. If you don't want to get into a volatile situation, depending where you're happy, whether with your loss or your gain right now, you may close it before earnings. Or just see what it's doing after hours. How do we access your gold video? Just come to the VectorVest channel itself. Click on the video link up at the top. And it should appear towards the top of the list because it came out last week. So yeah, it's right on the VectorVest channel. And it's in the video section itself. You'll see little tabs once you get to the channel. Just click on videos and you'll see that there. So Amazon here, if I'm holding it, me personally, again, I can't tell you what to do. I'd live to fight another day by selling it and probably re-entering this position. I do see you probably get it cheaper in the future if I had to guess. But again, earnings is tomorrow, so you may not necessarily want to make too many rash decisions. Maybe sell some, hold some, do some or hedge it with options. I don't know if you know options, but again, their earnings is tomorrow. I just broke a level of resistance here. If that earnings is bad, the next level doesn't come in until about 110, which is another 8% to the downside. So just be careful of that. BSH last time it was over 0.2 was on 920. Wow. It's been a while, John. Yeah, that BSR is, that's the buy, sell, hold ratio. It's been down for a long time. It's been down for a while. So here's oil here. See XOM? Exxon just crossed below its 200-day moving average. That's typically a bearish sign here. However, you see in the past, below that 200-day moving average, typically looks like a pretty decent buying opportunity. I see this level of support here at 107.01. I'm not mad at it if I can get in at that price. However, right now the 3 below the 8-day exponential moving average. Price action just crossing below that 200-day moving average. I'm not necessarily a buyer on it. VV channel on YouTube. Yes, Don. Yeah. It is on the VV channel on YouTube. You are correct. So let me close out of this and let's see here. Let me clear this one out. Empty watch list. All right, so now it's 2:54. So I'm going to stay a couple minutes, late with you guys. I want to get your stocks, so go ahead and start typing them in the chat box. I'm going to try to get in here as many as I possibly can. I see a lot of ignorance around me as well. Michael Rosenberg at John Boston. Must have missed some of that. All right, so here we go. We got AVAV, CLS, BWXT, MARA, NAT, LRN, BUD, VERV, CLS, CP, TRMD, IMT, INVZ. See how many we got here. We've got quite a bit so far. We got 18. I'll add the last one for PBR because we got a lot of stocks here. All right, Kobe, you got me. I'll get you one more. ORN. That's 20. Even 20. Banked. Bill, you know we talk about BNKD all the time. You know that's Glenn's baby. You know, interest rates rising. Like I said, that announcement next week is definitely going to impact that as well. I still like BNKD right now as a play, shorting the banks. Maria, you got URG. All right, I'll add those two. All right, so we'll have 22. So we got to get through these though. All right, so let's scroll through these. We've only got a few minutes left, 2:55. So we're just going to jump right over to the graphs here. Actually, let's just look at these collectively here. If we look at the list, we got BNKD at the top of the list, TRMD. We got buys all the way to CLS, AVAB, URG, all buy recommendations here. Towards the bottom of the list, the big losers here, look, we got Canadian Pac, Boeing here, BA, INVZ. All right, so let's graph these here. All right, X-Row is Glenn's baby too. Yeah, I think X-Row is more Glenn's baby. A lot of people here at VectorVest do own X-Row. I like it, honestly, from the research I've done. But again, always do your own research. Here we've got BNKD. Look at, we're approaching new highs here. New 52-week highs. Right now the high sits at 1733. We are seeing a lot of selling pressure here. That's one thing I don't like about this. See that selling pressure here? If we get a, what is that? Is that a gravestone? I'm not the best candlestick person. Much better at chart patterns. But if we get follow through the downside tomorrow, we do have 2 levels of support here. 3 is above the 8-day exponential moving average. So some things I do like about, if I'm not in it right now, I'd want a little bit more confirmation to the upside just because we got that upper wick, a lot of selling pressure, and we're sitting at 2 levels of resistance right now. So there's more things working against me than for me right now at BNKD. Put in your watch list. I think you probably get a better deal on it here in the near future because we're seeing huge moves here, big moves earlier this week and last week in this position. So just keep an eye on it. But as of right now, with that top wick and sitting at a level of resistance, I'm not quite there. I'd like to see a little bit more confirmation to the upside, or if we can find a level of support. Great job, Ryan. Joey, really quiet today. Is he there or is he off his Cafe Bustel? Well, he's here, but not in person. He's working in the background remote. Thank you, Joey, by the way, for your services. Couldn't do this without you. Okay, so I was right. Yeah, so that is a gravestone. That's what I thought. So gravestone here. If we get confirmation of this gravestone tomorrow, which I would be worried about, just be careful. If you're in it, you could probably use the 3 or 8-day exponential moving average, depending where you get in it at. But I just think we've got opportunities in the future where you could probably get back in this a little bit better of a price. But right now with that gravestone at resistance, I'm not liking that. All right, we got to get through these. It's almost 2 o'clock. We got TRMD. This one here, look, it's right at this level of resistance here at 30.65. 3 is above the 8-day exponential moving average. We do have a upper wick here. Let's go to 6 months. Zoom in. 2 levels of resistance here, actually. 30.65, then one right above that, just around 31.50. So as far as opening a new position here, I would hold off, right? Hold off on that. Now, as far as maintaining a position, the 3 is still above the 8, right? So depending on where you bought it, just depends. Let's see here. John Boston, hey, cutting into my tea time. Yeah, it's almost 3. Let's see here. So this one here, I'd hold off on this one right now. I do see the buy recommendation. As far as buying it, just wait for price action. I'd probably wait to take out today's wick just to get confirmation to the upside. Or if you did open it, just put a pretty tight stop on there. You can see, the level support coming in. 28.92, that zone brings it almost to 29.50. LRN, I don't know who brought this one, but this has got huge movement to the upside here. A nice big body candlestick. We do have some selling pressure coming in right at the high here. We see the high is at 45.35. I imagine there's some kind of news on this. However, look at this. Broke this level of resistance here. 3 is above the 8-day exponential moving average. I would just look at the news, see what's going on here at this position. I mean, obviously, it might be earnings. Let's see here. Yep, it was earnings. So it looks like they did have positive earnings. However, I do like they are keeping those gains, and that momentum is to the upside right now. It gapped up just above $50. Right now it's 53, so it does look good. So 3 is above the 8. So I actually do like this one, but it's very volatile. So if you're not used to it, we just got off our earnings. So it's probably have some volatility here. So just be careful of that. But it could be a good short-term bullish play, but the market is moving down. So just know it's very aggressive if you're trying to do bullish moves in this kind of market right now. Nat here, we got Nordic, which is shipping company. Since my video on Panama I did, what was that, almost 2 months ago, month and a half ago? I don't know if anyone knows this, but Panama Canal, they have a drought right now. It's affecting shipping lanes. Just saw an article this morning where these ships there's like 200 ships backed up right now. So shipping companies, I'm still bullish on shipping companies. Look at this one here. Nice strong bodied candlestick today. Very little upper wick. Buyers have control. I just like to see it close above this level of support here at 446. I feel a little bit more confident, but I do like this one. And thank you whoever recommended NAT. I like that. ORN, Orion, nice lower left, upper right over the last 6 months. This is building heavy construction company here. However, look at steep sell today, or steep candlestick today. Still at support here. You see the wick touching the bottom of that support zone at 505. Buyers trying to come in. We see a little bottom wick there. 3 is below the 8. I don't like it right now, though. I do not like it right now. Just to be honest. 3 is below the 8. Now, if we take out the wick of this candlestick right here, that low, which is at 506, I'd be greatly concerned because there is 2 levels support here. But after that, there's not much support. Maybe if I do a freehand line, you might be able to find something here as far as support, or maybe up here. Next, we got URG, uranium. I do like uranium here. I've been promoting uranium for quite a bit. Nice lower left to upper right over the last 6 months. Price action brings us to 3 above the 8-day exponential moving average. However, we are nearing this level of resistance here. So if you give up a couple cents, maybe, 10 cents of potential profit, you can get confirmation by breaking that resistance zone. That's my play if you're not already in it. I'd wait to get confirmation of that. However, the price action is to the upside, right? So I do like that. So if you're in it, probably not necessarily in a rush to sell it right now. And it has buy rating, like that one. AVAV here, this is Aerospace and Defense Company. Huge gap up. Let's see, was that earnings? Yep, that was earnings here. So this company's making money apparently from that earnings report, or at least I would hope so after that big gap up. A little bit of, we see a big upper wick here. Price action pulling back. However, with the news, defense stocks on the gain, we see that momentum to the upside here. 3 above the 8. So I like this position. I do see some upper wicks here showing some selling pressure. So just be mindful of that. Honestly, I'd probably... Well, I would like to see this wick right here taken out. That high price is at 122 even. Don says, I'm new to VectorVest. I'll find your gold video. Thank you. I should have said I own mostly silver bullion and dividend-paying oil stocks. Well, Don, that is those are great positions to be on. Actually, I did a video about a couple months ago. It's on the channel. Again, just go to the video section. And you can even type in VectorVest Gold or VectorVest Oil, and you'll see those type of videos pop up as well in the YouTube search bar, just to make life easier. But yeah, don't see that being a bad position to be in at all. Next, we got Celeste. See here, the CLS. So this is electronic, moving lower left to upper right. Just hit its 6-month high. Now that high came in at 27.58. 3 is below the 8-day right now. We're not going to find support, until around the $23 mark here. That zone going up close to $24. So I could see that here, but this is the wick I'm worried about. This low, this 24.68. If we take out this low here, we would create a new swing low, bringing price action down. So right now, I'm not. If you're in it, not in a huge rush to sell it, to be honest. Obviously that depends on what your profit objectives were. But right now, the 3 below the 8, not a big buyer either. So let's just go to the next one here. Meta platforms. Today we do have earnings. We did touch base on this, but with that 3 below the 8-day exponential moving average, big down day today. I don't see exactly a reason to buy it right now, especially with the color guard being all red. Here we got Microsoft. We've already covered this one. Google, big gap down from its earnings, breaking this level of resistance here. We did cover this one just a little bit ago, so I won't go into too much detail here, but not a buyer, right? If you own this, what's your threshold of pain, right? Like I said, just because you sell it doesn't mean you can't buy back in. Me theoretically think, again, I don't have a crystal ball, but I have a feeling we probably get a better deal here in the near future on it. Just between the market and what the investors are saying from the earnings report. It's negative. PBR, Petro, Brazil. Okay, so yeah, this one here, I'm actually familiar with this one. This is the Brazilian Petro company. Nice lower left, upper right price action here. 1556 currently. The 3 did just cross below the day exponential moving average. That does have me a little concerned. We do see support coming in at 1475. Resistance at 1643. If it does get around support here, I'd like to see a good bottom wick with some follow through the next day on some strong volume, showing conviction, showing that the buyers have taken control around that level of support. If that happens, might be a good entry play on this pullback in oil. Now let's see here. We've got gold, GLD. You see GLD here, downward trend for the most part here, but however, since the beginning of October, it has been up like a rocket ship. You can see 3 is above the 8-day exponential moving average, bringing price action from the 160s, now approaching the mid 180s. We are at a level of resistance here at 184.17. So if I was a buyer at this, I'd like to see that 184.17 taken out. Just because the last time we tried that, we got a long upper wick here showing sellers had control. Oh, and again, I did do a video on gold last week. Definitely check it out. I think it's very educational, and if it's still a hedge, right? It's still a good hedge. That's why most people buy gold, especially bullion itself, typically as a hedge against inflation. Now let's scroll down here. We got Amazon. We did touch base on this one early here, but did break this level of resistance. 3 is below the 8 right now. We don't see support coming in until close to $110. So bearish on this one right now. It's not good. Oh, and it has earnings tomorrow evening. So, not in a rush. I like to wait for the dust to settle. Let's see here. Here we've got Canadian Pac, Transportation Rail. This 3 is below the 8, has been for quite some time. Let's scroll back here. Yeah, the next level of support doesn't come in at the low here. Just broke a level of support. Now becoming a level of resistance, 71.77. I don't like this at all. This is moving down way too fast, way too much momentum to the downside. Look, we just got a sell rating on it as of the 23rd. So just got a fresh sell rating on it recently. So not much here. Oh, it did have its earnings today, which looked like the price action was going to try to go higher based off that earnings. However, sellers came in quite a bit. If we just zoom in here, we can see that tall upper wick. So sellers having control after the earnings here, so no surprise. Now, next we got XOM here. 3 is below the 8-day exponential moving average. We're caught in between some severe, 2 lines of resistance and 2 lines of support. I'd like to see price action break out either way before making any decisions here. Next, we got BWXT. Look at that 3. It's starting to converge closer to that 8-day now. However, price action today, it did, see here the open was 76.71. The close was 75, so it did close lower. So I don't like that. But right now, yeah, as far as being bullish on, I don't see it right now. Here we got Bud, Anheuser-Busch. We're showing some indecision here. This up top and upper bottom wick. However, the 3 did cross below or above the 8-day exponential moving average, so we are getting a shift in tide here. But just keep in mind, right now with the market right now, I don't see Bud. And let's just go to a 6-month here. Yeah, look at Budweiser. And it's had a lot of bad publicity over the last 6 months or so. When did that start? Like the beginning of the summer. I'm not getting into all that stuff, but since then, this is probably right around the time here in April. You can see price action going from the 60s all the way down to the 50s here. trying to find a level of support, but you know, I'd want some more confirmation with this type of position right now, especially you know, with the sentiment behind this stock. Let's see here. Next, we got Boeing. We did talk about this one. Look, just hit a new 6-month low. Broke level resistance here. There's no reason to be a bull on Boeing. It had its earnings. It's having issues with their 737. So just, you know, bottom fishing. Also, Bud got a contract with UFC. That I did not know about with the contract with UFC. But let's be honest, they still have you know, they've got a lot of issues, especially, you know, Bud Light. Just, it's got a bad reputation. You know, at least as far as a lot of its consumer base. I'm not touching Budweiser. But as far as Boeing here, we're seeing it just hit a 6-month low. So this could actually probably be a good short position. Let's just zoom out a little bit more here. Let's see. I could honestly see maybe some buying pressure coming in right around this level support here. Yeah, I like that. So I think Boeing's got a little bit more downward pressure. It suffered a lot, you know, from 250 now to 178. This might be a good bottom fishing opportunity in the low 170s here, as long as the market can get itself together, right? And as long as these planes can get itself together, because right now it's been nothing but bad news with Boeing and manufacturing issues. So here we've got INVZ. It's a software company. Upper left to lower right. Went from $2 down to $1.45. Nothing good here. 3 is below the 8-day exponential moving average. Price action, looking to find a level of support here. But yeah, this thing is just going down. I don't see it being a good position right now. I'm not saying it's a bad stock, but the market right now with interest rates the way they are, I don't see this being a good position. Joey, do you want to take us out? Because it is about that time. So you're just going to switch us to the last screen here. Energy 84. Glenn is on vacation. He is going to be back next week. Now, just a reminder, tonight's video that I did put out is going to be about Microsoft and Google, and just kind of recapping their earnings. Just going to go over some of the charts, go over the indicators. But I only pull up 2 articles between both companies with their earnings, and I go into pretty deep detail. And a lot of it has to do with their cloud computing and who right now seems to be the winner in that space when it comes to cloud computing and AI cloud. That's the thing. You know, we got one hot topic, cloud, the other hot topic, AI. Well, Microsoft decided we just going to merge them together. Now they got the AI cloud, which seems to be, you know, investors like it, right? You know, and the Microsoft Azure, you know, definitely has quite a bit of the space right now. But yeah, Glenn's going to be back next week. Next Wednesday, we're going to have a great presentation. It's going to be live coverage on the Federal Reserve. They're going to make their interest rate decision by 2 p.m. 2:30, Jerome Powell will be giving us his thoughts. All right, so before I'm out here, I just want to say thank you, Joey, for helping me out today. Everyone out there, you know, I hope I was able to hold up to Glenn's reputation. And, you know, as always, I just want to try to keep you informed, give you good knowledge, keep you on the right side of the market, tell you what industries that you potentially, you know, you want to be in or consider to look at. And my mind hasn't changed a whole lot recently. You know, it's been mostly energy related, commodity related, contra ETFs, and honestly right now, crypto. I know I'm not the huge crypto person, but there's a lot of noise coming around with this Bitcoin spot ETF. So if you're trying to make some money, you know, money goes where money grows. And right now the crypto space is growing because of that. All right. All right, John, you got a lot accomplished. You didn't have to sing any Barry White to keep us here. No, John, I appreciate that. Hey guys, you have a wonderful day. Don't forget to hit the like button. You know, right now we're at 65 likes. Let's see if we get that number up a little bit. But you guys have a wonderful evening, and I will see you next week. Enjoy tonight's presentation.